Well, how y'all doing? Derby Jack here. So I get out of bed and I get on here. I do a little prayer, a little Bible reading, and I've been knowing something about this, but anyway, Trump doesn't like PBS or NPR, public broadcasting, NPR. Remember when we were kids, we'd get up and when you were a child, you'd watch Sesame Street and all the other little cartoons they had for learning, learning your ABCs, your alphabet and all that. Well, you know that as culture changed, PBS changed along with the culture. And then they, one thing that when Trump was in, he didn't like about the, PBS, Sesame Street, when they started, with two daddies and all this. So he had a thing for that. He didn't like that. So anyway, now there's going to be a defunding, or defunding has happened against PBS and NPR. They're going to be replaced by Prager University. Now, if any of you have done any type of, study or understood, Prager is one of those universities, that are sort of like on the fringe of, a lot of things out there, a lot of ways of thinking, and you're not quite an American like some of you who think you're American, but not quite that American. They have different ideas. They're the type of people, just sort of like BlackRock, their ideas. You gotta mold culture according to business. I mean, they don't say it that way, but it's like how BlackRock, idiot always says, that, you gotta make your people, you gotta make your people change, So basically, that also means culture. Culture has to change according to the means of the day, or the needs of the times. So what they want to bring in, and this is where it gets really weird, is that their propagandists, they want to give a different meaning to slavery, servitude, maybe calling slavery servitude. Now, if I get biblical for a moment, in the Bible, we understand a term called bond slave. Now, a bond slave basically is someone who is usually put in bondage in most cases for doing an act that was illegal, maybe against a family. You stole from another family to feed yours, stole a lamb that you have to serve them maybe for a period of time until it's paid off. Usually bond slaves are not beaten or anything like that. They were just basically under servitude. They would be maids. They would clean the stalls of the animals. They would do whatever. Sometimes if they accidentally or something where they killed a family member, they would probably have to be under slavery for that. A lot of times when conquerors took there were slavers who were bad, beaten, and then there was other ones who just took their people into servitude. Now, a bond slave, of course, as a Christian, and if you're a man of God or a person of God and you're serving, and you're following Christ, following Jesus, then, you're under servitude. You're a minister of a church. You're under servitude. Basically, you would consider yourself a bond slave to God. Now, that type of slavery is okay because you are willingly devoting yourself to this. To this individual, to this family, or as a Christian, we devote ourselves to God because He is our Creator. And I want to be a bond slave. But this that is happening in this country right now under this government is what is transpiring is not the same thing. They want to make it sound like the same thing. They won't use terms like bond slave. They would probably use more terms of servitude. And also, I believe eventually the words rich and poor will go away. Meaning that if you're poor, you must be a servant. Only servants would be poor. Servants live in a certain area of town. It basically is another form of racism, if you will. So, to me, you need to dig into this, because this is another one of those components of where this country and its government is going. And if you're going to live in this country or endure as a Christian, we have to endure this country. We have to endure our time here on this earth until we are taken. Is that, of course, like I always say, get your strength from Christ. You gotta build up that power base within you. If not, you're going to be under slavery. And even if you're under slavery, and we are under servitude in a position someday to where we all have got to become slaves under this system, that you still must be free in your spirit. You still must be free in your heart. That you do not allow the bitterness of the circumstances to bitter your salvation. Do not bitter your heart. This is what's going to be hard to do. This is where the end times becomes clear and clear and clear. The more they make these decisions and things they're doing, the more clear revelation has got to be in your mind. And that is that what they're going to try to do is make this thing about slavery is that you were born. Just imagine the next generation who have been given all this propaganda, a whole new way of looking at slavery. That when people came over here, they had a choice to make. You either die or you become a slave. That's what they want to make it sound like. And then it says is that, in that if you are poor and you must be in a position to where you must have to be a slave. So I'm just saying that they're going to make it to where in the next generation there are going to be the rich and they're going to be the poor. It isn't, or there's going to be those in control who have the right to be in control and those who just do not have the right. How many movies do we have to see to where this is where it's going? Mockingbird, the Mockingjay series, the Mockingbird, right? Hunger Games, right? The same thing. This is what is going to happen. There will be those who will fight for the glory of those in charge. There were those who will be servants for the glory of those in charge. And you will have no say. You will have nothing. And that's what they're trying to get. They want you to be happy and know nothing. They want you to look at the world and the changes as a good thing. That not everybody can have. That's what it's coming down to. If you don't have, you were not meant to be. You were not meant to have. I mean, could you imagine a future where your children, the reason you're in this position, it's your family and your bloodline and who you are, and you don't have the training and you don't have, and you're not so-and-so, you don't come from a so-and-so, to where racism will be interjected, to where the better and for those who are better than other people. This is the world in which you're living in right now. And this is what's happening. This is all the foul things that we don't like are coming to the forefront. All the things that we thought that we got rid of are now being remodeled. All the ways, all the old things that we thought all the old bad ways of thinking and all that, we thought that we got rid of them. We thought that things like racism and bigotry and betterment, we thought that those type of, no. It's either you have or you have not. And if you have not, you don't have a right to have. And if you have, nobody has a right to take from you. Unless you are a person who has something that a person who's supposed to have it wonders, why do you have something that I'm supposed to have but you're not allowed to have it? So we're going to take it from you because it's not what you're supposed to have. You might think, well, this sounds crazy. They wouldn't get that way. 20 to 30 years ago, you would never have thought society would get to where it is today. Right? 50 years ago, you probably never thought that society would have been what it was 20 years ago. And in another 20 years, if mankind lasts that long, unless he destroys himself or God does come back and and finishes it up, I mean, the next one, the next generation, this is what it's going to be. Either look, so many, y'all been prepared. Like I said, you've been prepared through entertainment, propaganda, and so your children now are going to be re-propagandized, if that can be used as a word. They're going to be propagandized to be either leaders or slaves, not rich or poor, not good or bad, either a leader, a ruler, or a slave. And that's where we're going back to. This is what your red or white and blue flag will now represent. Slavery, not freedom. And here's the thing. For all of you people who will not believe this, and it's going to pop up more, but if you do not believe this, because a lot of you still are dealing with all the other propaganda that's going on out there, do we really need to consider whether Trump is a pervert or not, whether he's a misogynist or not, or whether he's a child rapist or not? It's in his attitude. So whether you want to believe he did it or not, it's in his attitude. It is his personality. He has showed us that he disrespects women all his life. So whether you want to believe he is this thing that they're trying to say he is because he's trying to hide it, it doesn't matter. It is what is in his personality. It is what he promotes from himself. So whether he does it or not, he has a very bad way of thinking. That is not something that probably you think, or even I. I know I don't think the way he thinks. And so, he's not this good humanitarian thing that you all who voted in and still, I do get confused when they say, is this what you voted in? I know a lot of you out there who voted for Trump, who are Trumpers, never voted for some of the things that he's done. I understand that. I don't want to put you all in that cookie cutter or that glove like mainstream news does. Everybody wants to put everybody in the glove, Well, you're a Trumper, you must have voted for this. No, you never voted for the stuff not all of you voted for the stuff that's going on. A lot of you do not agree with it. So my question is, why are you still backing this? If you don't agree with it, you can't continue backing Trump. You see, and I'm not telling you to back the Democrats, because then we'll get back to child mangling and chopping off of little boys. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm basically talking to revolt against government. We need to revolt against our government. And how we do it? You stop. You stop. You stop worrying about them. You stop voting for them. You stop giving them your ear. You stop paying your taxes. You stop and revolt against the tyranny in which they promote. That's how you fight a tyrannical government. You won't win, but your resolve will show them you don't agree. I would rather go down on a ship that I do not agree with, and there's nothing I can do to change it. I will still go down against it. I will go down against the tyrannical, the tyranny, the lies, the propaganda. I will go against it all the way to my death. That's how you fight tyranny. And you got to give them a punch every once in a while to bruise them. I don't mean physically, but when Trump doesn't like you see all the crap here. Trump doesn't like when the public goes against him. He gets all angry when people go against him. Well, there's his Achilles heel. He loses his mind when you go against his rule. I'm sorry, people. And like I said, for all of you people who've been programmed all your lives and haven't come out of it yet to be a good American citizen. That if it wasn't for America, where would the world be? And we are the center of freedom, and we're this and we're that. No, we're a pompous ass. That's what America has become. We're a pompous ass because we don't know what we are. We want to bring all kinds of cultural differences in, or we lose who we, you know what? America has lost its identity at least 50 years ago. You're not an American like your great-great-grandfather was. You're so far away from that. You might fly your flag and might watch your football games and Sunday and stuff like that, and you go to your Baptist church and your Catholic church and stuff, and you fly your flag on Independence Day and Memorial Day and stuff. You're a good America. That you are a good American citizen under doesn't exist anymore. It's all a show. It's all a three-ring circus. And so get your pride. Get off your pride stool. Come on, get one foot off, and you can get the other foot off. Stop being so prideful as an American. It's not becoming anymore. Okay, we got to take our country back. Your country has been taken from you, has been annexed from you, and is still being annexed from you, is being destroyed in front of your eyes, and you're thinking it's it's just natural occurrences. We're causing, no, they're causing it. And until you finally realize that they are the ones doing it, and you are the ones allowing it, it'll never change. It'll continue change. It'll never change for the better. It'll only change for the worse. Because the more you let a salesman put his foot in that door, the Electrolux salesman had to make he put his foot in the door. I'm not interested. No, at least give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. He gets in there and he gives you his 5 minutes, and ends up by the time he walks out 20 minutes to an hour later, that woman's got that Electrolux in her house. Husband comes home, I just bought it. How much? It was $75. We done it. Why'd you do it? Well, he got his foot in the door, and well, there you go. And that's what we've done. We've let the foot get into the door, and now the door is opening, and all kinds of stuff is coming in. Propaganda, lies, all kinds of things against our children, against our well-being, all kinds of people in control. Somebody gets in control. Who the hell was that person? He's in control of my what? I don't know who this person. And then you got all your ethical people all the mouthpieces on television, all changing words and changing the concepts and all kinds of stuff, and say, this is the way it's always been. Just get used to it. Or this is the new normal. Listen, people, what's coming is very ugly. A very ugly thing. And if Trump doing this is any indication of his demeanor, he's a misogynist. He's a racist, and he's a slaver. He wants you to be a servant for him and his America. Not your America. His America. That's egotistical. That's pride. That's Satan. I will be above. I will sit in the seat of the Most High. That's Donald Trump. And if you don't see it, because you're thinking good things have got to come out of bad, that's what's happening. There's some bad stuff going on in Washington, D.C. Bad stuff. And it's cloaked as being a good thing. It's not happening the way it was supposed to be rolled out. And it's a lot worse on the ground than, of course, if you're watching TV, you'll ever know. They're making these tyrants heroes. And every so-called arrest that they're making, they're getting there's got one side who's hating them, and you got another side who's, yeah, keep going, Trump, keep going. You see what we have become, and I've said this before, nobody likes to think this way. What would a future generation, 20 years from now, who finally wake up from their delusion and look back at how did we get here? And look back at, would they be proud of what America was and then became? Where it was a slavery country, and then it was a free country, and then it became a slavery country. How did we have gotten there? I would think the same way. How did we get here? How could our forefathers allow that? How could my grandfather, how could my father live in a way like that? How could they have taught me to be this way? Those will be the questions in another 10 to 20 years that your children will probably ask you. Why did you teach me this way? Why did you make me hate colored people? Why did you make me say it's okay to be gay? Why did you teach me that it was okay to change people's sex? Why did you teach me all this garbage, Dad, Mom, grandfather? This will be the future generations who are going to look at you and what you allowed to happen in this country. But until then, I guess you just keep flying your flag. You keep voting. You keep paying your taxes. You keep trusting government. And you keep your sides. You keep your Democrat and keep your Republican. Because it's our system. It's the only thing we know. And we can't do anything without leaders. We got to have leaders. I mean, well, what good is a country without leaders? And what good is a country without government, right? I ask the opposite. What good is a country with a government? I don't see much good. I don't see much right. I don't see much anything to inspire me. There's nothing in government that inspires me or ever inspired me to want to become a government puppet. Nothing inspired me to ever want to be a congressman. No one ever inspired me to want to be president. Yeah, I heard it. Well, you could be president someday. I don't want to be president. Never did want to be president. There was a time I might have wanted to be an astronaut, yeah, back in the day when I believed in that crap, but that lie, that propaganda, that way of thinking. So just be ready. The new America, racist, a slave country once again. America, red, white, and blue, country of slavery, and it's okay. Because it's better to be a slave than it is to be dead. That will be the motto. Probably. Wouldn't that be something? They're doing it on cartoons, right? That's what Prager University promotes. Those little cartoons, they say things like that. Oh, it's good to be a good slave. A good slave is a good... I mean, what do they tell the people? It's good to be a good citizen. Just replace the word slave with a good citizen. Replace the word slave with a good servant of the people, of the country, of the government. You be good, and the government will be good to you. That's where we are, or where we're going. So, America, #1, right? I had to bring this out, and I apologize because I did not really want to talk about this. This is not even something that was on my mind until I started seeing what was going on. I mean, and it's something that's been coming. I think everybody in the back, there's people who are awake in the back of their mind. We knew these type of things were happening. But things are happening so quickly. Some of this stuff I never thought would be rolled out as quickly as it has, and there's a lot of stuff being rolled out. But this new thing about slavery, this is a real kick in the head, people. This really has got to be a kick in the head for all of you people who believe in freedom. Because, and you're not gonna, there's a lot of you out there, you hear me and hear other people talk about this, you ain't gonna believe it. No, not my Trump. My Trump is no, my Trump likes freedom. My Trump, you know, he's your Trump. Like God is your God, right? Remember I told you, you're God's child. God doesn't belong to you, you belong to Him. That's the biggest problem we have with our ego problem, our pride problem. We think that God is our God. No. When you start thinking that, you're bringing God down to you. That's called Hellenism. That's called the Greek gods and all this other stuff. No. And they're not even real gods. They're demons. So you're bringing God down to your level as a demon. That's what you're doing. Right, Christian? Right? Go to church every Sunday? Right? Huh? You're bringing God down to you to be your demon, to do your servitude, just like the government wants you to be a slave. You want God to be your slave, to do your bidding. You're one hell of a good Christian, aren't you? That's why people like to change the words of the Bible. That's why people like to change the concepts of the Bible, because they don't want to live under the servitude of God, which is the one thing you were born in this world to do. That was what you were born to do. You were born in a world of sin to come out of sin. That was what you were born to do. And many have missed the boat. Many have missed the opportunity. There's many who've gone through their lives that are dead that never took the opportunity. And they have a destination. No ifs, ands, buts about it. There are people who've done things in their lives that could never, ever be apologized for, and never went to God. And they're dead, or they'll die in their sin and go to hell with no redemption. I'm telling you right now, when you take away virtue and ethics, even out of a natural system, okay, there's only what's left is force, and that's what takes over. When people are not given an opportunity to do something for themselves, and it's taken over by outside forces, that means that the forces on the outside begin to control, and you give up your control to these forces on the outside. That's what we're doing. And many of you who, like I said, who are on the Republican side or whatever, for all of you who are becoming this arrogant, and you need to think about this. If you're one of these people, you're very arrogant when it comes to people talking against Trump. Think about that. Is he your father? Is he your brother? Is Trump your sister? Is Trump your cousin? Is Trump your relative? Is Trump your dog? No. Trump really, has Trump ever eaten over at your house? Have you ever met him and shook his hand? Have you ever sat down and had a conversation with the man? You ever stayed over his house? So for all of you people who treat Trump like he is your father, mother, brother, sister, cousin, dog, I mean, you're treating him like family. This man is treating you like a piece of shit. And yet many of you treat Trump like royalty. That is perverted. That is arrogant. That is sickening. It is revolting, and it is wrong. He is a man, a fallen man, a beast of a creature, like all the rest of them in power, believing he is chosen by his God. And his God is a God of torment. His God is a God of lies. And Trump never backs down from a good lie. This is his personality. And this is what you all don't want to see, you Trumpers. Every time he does something out of character, what do? You all congregate together and excuse him, make excusogenics for him and his administration for the ills of the things that they're doing. Because under the clause and under the banner of this is to make America great again, how many people have to be hurt? How many people have to lose their livelihoods? How many people have to lose their possible lives? How many before America's great again? How many towns have to become rubble? How many cities have to fall to the wayside? How many programs that worked for the poor have to be dismantled? How many have to lose their hope, have to lose their drive? How many until America's great again? How many towns have to lose their money, their continuance? How many? How much do we have to give away of ourselves until America's great again? These are questions that I don't hear anybody ever ask. How many? How much more? When is it going to stop until America's great again? And then when we finally get to that point where America's great again, what are we great for? What have we aspired to? And what will the common man become when America becomes great again? Will America and the Americans be the type of people that if you tried to talk with them, they'd put their head up in the air because they're better than you? Would a common man walk down the street and happen to see somebody who looks shabby and poor, call the cops on them because they just made them look, they smell and they look bad? Will that be the kind of future, a normal people, a normal America will be? That we need our streets to be clean, so we can't have a bunch of people hanging out. Is this the America that you voted for? Is this the America you want to live in? An America that is so tight-lipped. America where you're not allowed to say certain words. Because we want a clean. We don't want our children to hate and all this. We're going to accept all kinds of things. And will there be an America where basic sin, even as bad as it is now, where basic sin will be an acceptable thing in the church? What if there's no church anymore? What if there's no more spiritual guidance? Mankind has grown away from that. I mean, I'm asking you what kind of future you want your America to be. Because right now, this is how you're molding it, America. This is how you're allowing America to be. You're under dictatorship. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You're under a rulership. You're under tyranny, slavery. This is what you're under. And it's going to get worse. And either you're going to accept it and allow yourself to fall prey to it, or you're going to fight it. We won't win as a natural people. The only way you win, because remember, this whole battle is a spiritual battle. For you to defy America in where it's going is you defying Satan to where he's trying to take you. I'm going to say that again. America is going in a direction that is not godly. If you go into that direction of America, that means you're also going in the direction of Satan. Satan. You're going in the direction of Lucifer. You're going in the direction of darkness. You're allowing America to become a very, very dark place. A cold-hearted place. And what makes it, not the land, the transformation of the people. Christians are supposed to transform into spiritual beings, but many of you are transforming into abominations. This is what's happening. So now we have to deal with the problems of slavery again. I want to leave you with that. Pray for those people who need to be prayed for. Pray for the Holts. Pray for other people, their attitudes. Pray for people who are on the cusp of possibly becoming spiritual. And also pray for people who are doing bad things that justice avails itself. When you're praying for the government, pray against the bad things and pray that justice prevails when it comes to government. Justice is not prevailing in government. Justice never prevails in government. So do not expect government to give you justice. But in spite of government, always pray that justice comes out in spite of the decisions of those in government. It doesn't matter what side. If what they're doing is against the people, then the people must pray for justice against them. That's revolt. So if you want me to tell you how to revolt against God, against the people, against the world, how the world revolts against God, that's how you must revolt against your government. Do not give them your heart. Do not give them your ear. Just like people who do not give the ear to God, who do not give anything to this book of life, they throw it to the side. That's how you have to do your government. Throw them to the side as people who throw God to the side. Revolt against tyranny. Revolt against slavery. Revolt against death. Heavenly Father, I thank you right now for your word. I thank you right now for working mightily within me to give your goodwill and pleasure. I thank you right now for keeping me strong in your spirit, Father. Giving me wisdom and giving me knowledge, Father. Just keep me on my toes. Oh, Heavenly Father, I thank you right now for those who need prayer, for those who need to come to a decision in their lives. And I pray for power of the Holy Spirit to rise in those people who say, They have the Spirit. In the name of Christ I pray, amen, amen. I'm putting a song on the end of this. Be ready. Derby Jack out. Hope to see you all on the other side.
How y'all doing? Derby Jack here. Well, I wrote this song a long time ago. I'm going back when I used to work at the Union Mission going through Bible college. And now the attack that we have in this country right now on homeless, and how the sneaky way the government's going about it, Trump and his boys are going about it, putting everybody in one glove. You remember the O.J. Simpson, one glove, okay? That everybody who is on the streets has got to be crazy to be homeless. That's basically what you have to be crazy, or you have to have a drug dependency to be a homeless person. That's the prerequisite. So no matter what your circumstances are, that's the prerequisite. But anyway, let me see if I can do this song. It's been a while since I've been practicing a little bit. When you don't play your own music, it's like anything. You forget. You forget words. You forget tempos. You forget, how you went. There's songs that if I don't have them recorded, and right now I've got a lot of songs that I don't remember the words, that I have a computer that the drive is messed up, and I got to get that turned back on so I can get everything taken out. Anyway. Y'all know I still play. I know I have all recorded stuff, but I can still play. Well, there are people in the streets walking around the worn-out feet. They need more than a new pair of shoes to wear. Some have no vigor, have no home, have no drive, and have no hope. All they do is stand around and say, don't you let your hearts grow cold, don't you let your hearts grow cold. They need someone to care, don't you know? Don't you let your hearts grow cold, don't you let your hearts grow cold. A little prayer could do them some good, don't you know? Some of you find it hard to read, others find it hard to sleep. Too much pain deep down inside their soul. Some are happy, some are sad, some have good hearts, some have bad. They have feelings just like you and me. Don't you let your hearts grow cold, don't you let your hearts grow cold. They need someone to care, don't you know? Oh, don't you let your hearts grow cold, no, don't you let your hearts grow cold. A little prayer could do them some good, don't you know? Well, there are missions all around where the unwanted can be found. That's if you are looking. Well, they eat beds and their food, they have clothes in their room. Well, there's much more these people are need. Don't let your hearts grow cold, don't you let your hearts grow cold. They need someone to care, don't you know? Don't you let your hearts grow cold, no, don't you let Derby Jack out, and hope to see you all on the other side.